started. They asked me how I felt about what was said about me on another platform from some other people. You know, that's something. I'm not a troublemaker.
Jim will be out of business after August 3rd, so I'm practicing the weatherman. As you can see, I'm in Harlem, New York. What up, Harlem? I love y'all, you know, but my shit don't go that fast, though, bitch. But anyway, I just want to say, after August 3rd, I'm going to be the new weatherman. If I ain't going to be it, Kiss is going to fill in, or we're going to have to do this shit together. But August 3rd, after August 3rd, no more weatherman from Capo. It's over.
All you got to do is pull up here. You want to join me? Pull up and join me. You know what I'm saying? Pull right up here and you can join me. I'm on live.
Yeah, talk that shit. Yeah.
We're here, baby. Pull up.
Know what's up?
211, never here.
Know what's up? Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're here, baby. J1 pulling up. He went home. You know, after the gym, he want to go get fleet. All you got to do is pull up. 211, never here. Get checked out. And everything else will fall in line after that. I'm out here with the legends, man. You know what I mean?
Man,
you
right.
see it, man. OG Prince, man, one of the most solid individuals ever touched the universe.
Right.
We keep it solid, we keep it real, original over here, 100%. You see who pulls up? The real ones. And we keeping it solid. That's all we do over here. No extra bullshit. If you ain't coming on that type of time, stay where you at. Get your prostate checked, get you a juice. Juice is for life.
This moment right here, it went down as one of the coldest wake-up calls hip-hop has ever seen. When Jadakiss and Styles P clowned Jim Jones live on air, it wasn't just comedy, it was carnage. The Harlem rapper tried to hold his ground after that Dipset versus Locks versus battle, but what started as a simple back-and-forth turned into a lyrical demolition. The culture was howling, reminded once again why the Locks still run New York streets with a level of respect that can't be replicated. Let's spin it back to that legendary night, Dipset versus the Locks on Versus. On paper, it was supposed to be Harlem Flair versus Yonkers Bars, Flash versus Skill. Fans swore it would be a celebration of New York greatness. But the moment the mics came alive, it got ugly real quick. The Locks didn't show up to entertain, they came to dominate. Jadakiss's surgical delivery and Styles' P.S. unfiltered aggression had the crowd losing their minds. Meanwhile, Dipset stumbled, rapping over their own tracks, bickering on stage, and leaning harder on chains and memories and actual performance.
Jones, Styles, P, let's talk about it. Versus started out as how much body of work you got, how many dope-ass singles you got, right? Then it grew. It progressed into having levels to this shit. It's sort of like boxing. You think you're gonna mash somebody the out until them lights come on, it's a different story. Styles P said, I'm a barsmith. It's levels to this shit. Meaning, look, I could go on my bag with singles, but I can also go on my bags with body and shit, as far as freestyles. Can Jim Jones do that? Maybe he can. Have people seen Jim Jones do that? No, they haven't. Because like I said, once you get under them bright lights like a boxer, it's a different story.
The real turning point came when Jadakiss dropped that Who Shot Ya freestyle, the exact moment he hijacked the entire event. The crowd went insane when he said, "We in New York, man, this is real rap." You could literally watch Jim Jones's confidence evaporate right there. Dipset tried to clap back with their hit records, but it was too late. They got lyrically outclassed in front of the whole world. And after that public meltdown, Jim did what he always does best, tried to talk his way out of it. A few days later, he pulled up on a radio show trying to spin the story, saying, "We wasn't prepared like them. They rehearsed. We just came to have fun." But fans weren't buying that excuse, and neither were Jadakiss and Styles P, who just happened to call in live while Jim was still talking. That's when the embarrassment hit new levels. Jadakiss jumped in and said, "Ain't no excuses, bro. You got cooked. We came to work. You all came to pose." The studio fell silent. Even the host couldn't hold back his laughter. Styles P followed up with, "Your Harlem dudes had matching outfits but forgot the lyrics." The room exploded with laughter, everyone except Jim. You could hear the tension in Jim's voice as he tried to play it off, calling it friendly competition. But the damage was already done. The conversation spiraled, with jokes flying about Jim's fights, his image, and even his Harlem roots. It was pure chaos. Comedy and humiliation rolled into one. But what made it sting wasn't just the words, it was how they said them. Jadakiss and Styles P didn't sound like rivals. They sounded like big brothers lecturing a little bro who got caught slipping. Calm, confident, and surgical with every line, they dismantled him live on air. Then came the line that broke the internet. Jadakiss saying, "You all thought this was a fashion show. We thought it was hip-hop." That bar alone became a cultural moment. Memes, remixes, and reactions flooded social media for weeks. Jim tried to save face, saying, "We had the bigger hits, though." But Styles P shut that down fast. You can't out-hit bars, bro. You can't dress your way out to defeat. Cold. Every time Jim spoke, the Locks hit back harder, not to brag, but to defend the craft. It wasn't just competition anymore. It was a masterclass in authenticity. Fans online went wild. Comments poured in like, "Jim got humbled twice, once on stage, once on radio, and Dipset made New York look soft. The Locks brought the hunger back." And honestly, they weren't lying. That Versus wasn't just a battle. It was a cultural reset. For the Locks, it was a resurrection. Jadakiss became a certified legend overnight, and Styles P proved again why he's one of the most respected MCs alive. For Jim and Dipset, it exposed the gap between image and integrity, between hype and heart. See, that's always been Jim's problem. Too much style, not enough substance. Harlem's all about flash, talk, and confidence. But when the MIC's on, flash don't save you. The Locks came with unity, rehearsal, and discipline. Dipset came with egos and nostalgia. That's why the Locks didn't just win. They reclaimed New York's respect. After that humiliation, Jim tried to clean up the narrative with an Instagram post saying, "It's all love, New York won either way." But everyone knew it was damage control. The interviews that followed showed the sting. He even threw slick shade at Jadakiss like, "I could outwork him in the gym, but not on stage." And that just made it worse, like watching a sore loser try to rewrite the loss. Even Dipset fans had to admit it. The Locks didn't just beat them, they buried them. What made this whole saga even more hilarious was how Styles P flipped the aftermath into pure entertainment gold. On his own podcast, he laughed about how Jim Jones was still out here trying to spin the story. Styles said, "Ain't no spinning the truth, bro. You got cooked. It's okay. Take your L and move on."
Jim was trolling. So I don't have much to say about it because I don't believe that Jim Jones believes that he's a better rapper than Nas, Pusha T, and Styles P.
Yeah.
I think he's an icon in terms of the fashion
Culturally,
shit.
all
and
that.
yeah, but we got to stop the train somewhere.
Nas is a good place to stop that.
Nas is a great place to stop that train for anybody.
Yeah.
When you start naming specific people,
I'm not mad at that.
it feels weird to me. Also, he doesn't have more Billboard entries than Nas. That's the other
I
thing.
didn't check it.
He doesn't.
I saw some people fact checking it. He don't.
He does not, and it's not particularly close.
Yeah, it's not.
He doesn't have a bigger listening base.
I wouldn't have thought it was close, but again, I didn't check it.
It's not close, and
Even if you remove features.
even if you get rid of
still
features,
not close.
it's just not close. I mean, you look at Spotify. Nas has 9 million followers. I think Jim has like 850,000. I mean, the traditional metric. You look at Grammys. I don't think they're on the same planet. I don't think that they should be debating that.
See, and that's why it's smart for Jim to insert himself in these conversations.
The calm, confident, almost bored tone made it 10 times funnier. Then he joked, "Harlem had Prada. We had pressure." The internet went wild, turning that line into memes, tweets, and TikToks overnight. Meanwhile, Jadakiss was playing chess while Jim was stuck playing checkers, staying silent, selling out shows, and dropping freestyles while Jim was still explaining himself. That's when you know you truly won. And just when Jim thought it couldn't get worse, it did. Other rappers started joining in on the roast. Mano went live saying, "Yo, I told Jim, the Locks are different. That's workout rap versus war rap." Even Fat Joe laughed during an interview, calling Jadakiss the General of New York. Everywhere Jim went, someone was reminding him of that Versus night. It stopped being a battle and became his brand. No matter what he dropped, people still said, "Yeah, but remember that L And when Jim made that wild claim comparing himself to Nas, the culture collectively lost its mind. Hip-hop fans weren't having it. Commentators went off, saying, Nas is a legend. Jim shouldn't even be mentioned in the same sentence. They drag him mercilessly. One clip went viral of a hip-hop vet shouting, "You can't play with legacies like that. Nas built this." Jim's catalog doesn't even scratch the surface. It wasn't just anger, it was disbelief. Fans called it one of the most disrespectful comparisons in rap history. The internet unanimously agreed. Jim wasn't just losing arguments anymore. He was losing credibility. And that's what hurt the most. Deep down, Jim always wanted that same kind of respect the Lox had. He wanted people to call him a real MC, not just a hustler or a hype man. But when you get dismantled in front of millions, that's a hard image to recover from. You can drop 10 mixtapes after that, but the crowd only remembers a moment you got humbled. That MIC check defeat became the scar he couldn't cover up, no matter how many interviews or flexes he pulled. Even months later, Jim was still trying to rewrite history. He claimed Dipset had the bigger catalog, talked about doing a rematch under better conditions, and even hinted that the Lox rehearsed too much. But fans didn't care, because that's the point. Preparation is part of greatness. The Lox came ready to perform. Dipset came ready to pose. And that's a real difference between rap royalty and rap cosplay. What made the whole thing even crazier is how it never died. Every few months, clips from that battle resurface, and the internet lights up all over again. Younger fans who weren't even around during Dipset's prime are now calling Jadakiss and Styles P legends, while roasting Jim all over again in the comments. That's how deep this humiliation went. It crossed generations. And the irony? Jim spent years trying to prove he was a definition of real New York, only for two Yonkers veterans to remind him what real New York rap actually sounds like. That's a kind of poetic pain you can't recover from. And while the fans laughed, a lot of old heads got serious. They said this wasn't just about a rap battle, it was about the culture losing its soul. Social media got you all hypnotized, one OG said. It made you all think clout is worth more than craft. He wasn't wrong. People got so obsessed with views, likes, and flash that they forgot what hip-hop was built on: respect, skill, and authenticity. The same platforms that glorified Jim's flashy image also turned around and replayed his downfall on loop. That's how social media works. It builds you up to what you break. When you really think about it, what happened between Jim Jones and the Lox was bigger than rap beef. It was a culture check. Jadakiss and Styles P didn't just humble Jim. They humbled an entire mindset that's been creeping into hip-hop for years. The idea that fashion and followers matter more than breath control and bars. So when Jadakiss said, "You're rapping over your own vocals," it wasn't just shade, it was a warning. A reminder that this craft still demands work. That moment hit because it felt like old New York finally slapped new New York awake. After that, you could tell something changed in Jim. He slowly started pivoting, talking more business, dropping the tough guy act, and trying to rebrand as a more mature figure in hip-hop. But no matter how much he evolved, that shadow still follows him. Every time he talks slick or tries to flex, someone in the comments says, "But what about the Lox?" That one night lives rent-free in his career forever. Jadakiss and Styles didn't even set out to destroy him. They just exposed the truth. And in hip-hop, truth cuts deeper than any diss track ever could. Because you can't fake chemistry. You can't fake breath control. And you definitely can't fake legacy. That's a line that separates icons from imitators. The Lox walked out of that Versus not just as winners, but as guardians of the culture, proof that real skill never goes out of style. Jim walked out realizing something money, fame, and fashion can't buy: respect. You can have all the flash in the world, but if you don't master your craft, the real ones will always call you out. So yeah, the disrespect was real, but so was a lesson. Jadakiss and Styles P didn't just clown Jim Jones. They reminded an entire culture that no matter how shiny the game gets, bars still matter. That night wasn't about humiliation, it was about correction. The Lox didn't just win a battle. They restored balance to hip-hop. And Jim Jones? He'll forever be part of that legacy. The man who got humbled on the MIC by two of the greatest to ever do it.